Merry Christmas, everybody! Trevor here, and it's time for another top 3 ranking video. And since most of you guys want me to do the Grinch first, we'll be ranking each adaptation from weakest to strongest. Now please note that I won't be counting that stupid horror adaptation or any of the parodies. I also won't be counting sequels such as Halloween Night is Grinch Night, as this is the Christmas season, and that Halloween has already come and gone. Now, without any further delay, let's start celebrating. Number 3 is the Illumination adaptation from 2018. To be honest, I don't really hate this adaptation of The Grinch. I mean, I'll give it credit for trying to be different from the other two versions, but at the same time, I didn't have that much high hopes for this version. For one thing, it's mostly padding and filler. For example, remember the original Dr. Seuss book where the Grinch decides to make his dog Max his reindeer? Well, in this version, however, he never thought of it at first and decides to find a real reindeer out in the wilderness instead. Later on, the Grinch decides to let him go back to his family and make Max his reindeer instead. So yeah, in my opinion, this scenario was completely pointless. Another reason why this version stinks is because the real reason why the Grinch hated Christmas in the first place was because of his lonely childhood. And when I first heard that by the end of the movie, I was like, okay then. Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of ways to make that work. For example, in A Christmas Carol, the reason Ebenezer Scrooge was very mean to begin with was because 1, his love for money, 2, he lost his girlfriend slash fiance later on in his young life, and 3, he was very lonely at a very young age. And as a result of those things, he hates Christmas, hence his catchphrase, bah humbug. But in this story of the Grinch, it wasn't elaborated on very well. Not to mention that the Grinch was out of character for the majority of the film. For example, there were times when he was nice to Max and his new reindeer friend, when in reality, he should have taken advantage of them in some shape or form. But on a more positive note, the animation in this is gorgeous and very vibrant, just like all the other movies by Illumination Entertainment. I also kind of liked the rap version of the Grinch song by Tyler the Creator, even though I still prefer the original by Thurl Ravenscroft, as well as the Jim Carrey version from the live action remake for nostalgic reasons. But the best and funniest moments in the entire movie has to be the Pentatonix version of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, where the carolers were singing and following the Grinch and Max all across Whoville. Yeah, that's the one thing that makes this version worth watching because I love Pentatonix in general. Seriously, you should search them up on YouTube. They are very talented singers. But other than those few good things, this one is the weakest adaptation of The Grinch, as well as one of Illumination Entertainment's weaker films. It just makes their Lorax adaptation look better in comparison. Number 2 is the original Chuck Jones short from 1966. I remember watching this in school and on television when I was younger, and while I did enjoy it for the most part, but not as much as the live action remake, which I'll get to later. Chuck Jones is one of those animators best known for working on many classic cartoons such as the Looney Tunes and some of the Tom and Jerry shorts back in the 1960s. And personally, he's one of my favorite animators along with Don Bluth, Tex Avery, Bob Clampett, even those who worked for Walt Disney such as Ub Iwerks. And the reason why I love Chuck Jones is because of his attention to detail, sense of humor, and even the fluid animation that he provided in his works. In addition, I thought Boris Karloff did an excellent job voicing the Grinch himself because it makes him sound mean and intimidating. Oh, and I thought June Foray did a great job voicing Cindy Lou Who in this version as well. However, I ranked this as number 2 because while it mostly stays true to the original book by Dr. Seuss, there is one part of the beginning where they switch some lines around, like the part where the original book stated, "It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight." But in the 1966 version, they somehow switched those around. I don't know why, but oh well, I guess. Another reason why this is number 2 is that, unlike the other two adaptations, which were rated PG, this one seems G rated. Not that it's a bad thing, I just kind of prefer most kids' movies that have a PG rating feel to them, so that they have some sort of maturity to them. But regardless of those nitpicks, I still think this version is better than the Illumination adaptation. And as much as I like Illumination in general, nothing beats the first two adaptations of The Grinch in my humble opinion. And if you enjoy Chuck Jones stuff in general, then you'll probably love this one as well. And the number one best adaptation of The Grinch is obviously the 2000 live action remake with Jim Carrey. As promised, I'm ranking this version as number one because, for one thing, I love Jim Carrey as an actor, a comedian, and a good person. In fact, he's also one of my mom's favorites when she was alive. I especially love most of the PG rated humor in this, which the secondary canon unfortunately lacked, but that's just me though. And while in the original cartoon and book, it was never really explained why the Grinch hated Christmas. But in this version, it was because the Grinch had a bad day at school and therefore ran away from home because he was easily made fun of due to his appearance. And in my honest opinion, those were much better reasons for the Grinch to hate Christmas rather than loneliness as stated in the forgettable 2018 adaptation. If you want more information on why I love this adaptation of the Grinch more than the other two, link will be provided in the description below, otherwise we'd be here all night. Now let me know which version of the Grinch you love the most. Do you agree with my list, or have you seen better? Join me next time where I'll be doing a ranking of all three adaptations of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This is Trevor Davis signing off and saying, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.